He's got all the intel. Web3 is a tree to show you where to excel. He's got the insights like a digital magician, unveiling secrets of the blockchain with precision. Wild stories from the web, he's always in the know. Crypto community.
Hey, Mega GMs, guys. Welcome to the Swarm Report. Oh my God, dude. This is one I've been looking forward to for, months. I'll say easily months since you guys launched. But a nice chat today with the gang from Kosher Capital. This one speaks to me for a few reasons. But Adam, welcome to the show, man. It's good to meet you face to face here. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Appreciate you having me. Pumped to be here.
Yeah, it's something with the kosher thing. They're like your project has got like, it checks a lot of boxes for me, right? It's one of these like DeFi type agents, or it's one of these agents or projects that I think is going to change DeFi. And I've been just itching for that. I think most of the space has been itching for that thing that's going to change the, again, how people trade. And then again, it's just the name, the project name has just got a little edge to it that I dig. So again, a couple boxes here that I think are just so spicy. Where did the name, by the way, come up for Kosher Capital? Do people ask you about it a lot?
Oh, all the time. I mean, it's so funny that you say that and bring it up, because we have a spectrum of reactions, as you can imagine, to the branding. It's an interesting story. We basically started Rabbi Shlomo. It started as Rabbi Shlomo, right? And he had kind of he was supposed to be like a funny meme. We thought we could maybe make him trade and just be this quirky rabbi. And that was back in November. And then we just kept cooking it, right? We kept cooking it and it evolved and the scale kept expanding, and then we launched a fund with him. And then we kind of turned into this framework, this kosher framework. So we stuck with the Jewish theme, and it just kind of evolved into this. I tell people, because I get all kinds of reactions. I actually get people like demanding that we rebrand, and this brand is holding you back. And my first response is, listen, I didn't really choose the brand. The brand kind of chose us. It is what we got, and we just ended up here, right? And we're running with it, So, but yeah, we evolved into this framework, and we have over 430 trading agents now that have launched on Kosher Capital, and that's kind of how we got to where we are today.
Dude,
it just kind of happened. You know what I'm saying?
Those are the best stories to me. Like, and those are the ones that I think are like just way more organic and like they just work a little different. Do you feel like at all that like the branding, if people have a concern with it, do you feel like it holds you back in any way? Because like I think about this. Okay, I go back to like the Hudah Labs drama and like some accusations from like, remember Pauly and Ryder, and they were really going after those guys, and because of that it I think affected Hudah's growth potential, as big as they are, right? I thought they could be in, Disney level or whatever, at least on that trajectory. And it hurt them.
So it's a very interesting question. And honestly, it's a great conversation and I'm happy to have it. Our brand is edgy and it evokes strong reactions, right? From people either way. Like you said, we have people that love it. I have people that message me in private. They're like, I love this. This is awesome. My whole community and my TG chat, we love it. We're in. And then I literally have people, like I said, saying you need to rebrand. This is holding us back. So it's kind of funny for me as the dev, hearing all of the different people on the entire spectrum. I think in one sense, you can make the case that the point of branding is to be sticky, and it is to evoke a strong reaction from people so they remember it, whether it be good or bad, right? And it's funny, you think about the branding and the whole Jewish thing. Really, it's at the forefront and it's at the center of the geopolitical landscape and discussion in our world, right? So you couldn't pick a more relevant theme in regards to attention. If you're going for strict attention, right? We're at our brand is at the center of the planet's attention. So I think you can kind of you kind of make a case for that. You can. That being said, like, I have my personal political, religious opinions, all of that stuff, but the project in itself, we don't have like, there's no political agenda, there's no religious agenda. It honestly started as a funny meme because we thought Rabbi Shlomo was hilarious, right? So I do see people stumbling over it, right? I do see people stumbling over the branding. And I thought long and hard, like, is this something that we want to stick with? Is this something that we want to kind of compartmentalize, in what direction should we go? I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know. At the end of the day, people love green candles, right? That's what they love more than blue flags. They love green candles. And if you think of all the controversial projects, right, that have launched and have gone to millions and billions in market cap. I mean, Trump coin, right, just as controversial. You know what I mean? You can throw a lot of them out there. So, but at the end of the day, what degens want to see is green, right? That's what they want to see. So I think the vast majority of the community, they really don't care. The kind of fringe that absolutely refuses to buy us or to hold us or to whatever, I'm okay. There's only one reason why you do that, and it's not very nice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm okay with them being sidelined, right? I'm okay with them being sidelined. So, like, we're not political, we're not religious, we're also not snowflakes, right? And we're not cowards. You know what I'm saying? So, like, at the end of the day, this is our brand right now. If it, if there was a community discussion, if there was consensus, and if there was I think a good reason to kind of make some adjustments, we'd certainly consider that. Like, we're open, right? We're open to those kind of things. But right now, this is what we got. And to be honest with you, it's exciting, it's challenging, it's evoking, so we're running with it.
For what it's worth, and like I've told you, and I think most people know, like, my name's Hudah. I'm Jewish, and I fucking love it. I need edge, and it tells me that you guys get internet culture, especially. Like, it's a great meme, it's a great token name, it's a great like everything about it. I love. I fuck with it. I hope you don't change it.
Sure.
I think it's great.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and like I said, I get that a lot. I get that all the time. I get messages. They're like, and they're anons, right? They're all these anons, and they're like, I'm Jewish. I don't tell anybody, but go for it. I love this. My whole Jewish TG community is in, and I'm sure there are some big ETH whales that are Jewish out there, right? Mm-hmm. And we got the Coinbase listing coming up, right, where all the tokens are about to be listed on Coinbase. I'm sure there are some Jews that have the Coinbase app, right, and that wouldn't mind supporting a project that bears a Jewish brand. So we'll see, right? We'll see. The fact that it evokes this either strong love or strong hate, again, that's a powerful thing, right? That's a powerful thing, and we can work with that. We can cook with that,
dude. And it does work. We had launched before our Swarm agent. We launched an agent called the Bull. And we dialed his personality up to 11 to be an asshole. And he was an asshole. And that's what people remembered him for. Like, he did alpha insight, stuff like that. But people knew that you had to have something strong, memorable. Otherwise, you got these generic sounding projects, generic sounding bots, whatever. And it just, you forget about them a few months later. It's just lost in the mix. And this will never be because of this. So,
And I mean, especially in our world, right? In the crypto game, right? It's a hyper attention economy. Right, it's all about attention. There are literally thousands of projects launching all the time, right? So if you can't be sticky, if you can't be remembered, right, you just fade away into obscurity. So I think it's I think that's definitely a relevant point, right? That it sticks to people. People remember it. People are aware of it. Even the haters.
Even the haters. And eventually they probably come around, and they just come around a little later than most. That's my thoughts. By the way, guys.
And I mean, you want to talk about a hated rally? You've never seen a hated rally like a hated Jewish rally.
Oh my God, I'm here for it.
Especially in this climate. So, we'll see. In the meantime, our focus is on cooking, right? It's on cooking the product.
There we go. I want to get into that. Guys in the chat, like always, you know how the show goes in format and whatever. We just vibe. But if you have questions all along the way, drop them in the chat, send me DMs, whatever, right? Like I think Adam's up for anything here, as you can tell already. I am going to rewind just a minute and actually a quick local update. You guys have been waiting for the Arbus campaign, the Arbus chirping campaign to go live for the Swarm. Guys, that is officially live right now. So get to chirping, and a quick heads up because we have a couple really awesome updates here for the Swarm Copilot, which you'll use for this too, by the way. But Swarm Copilot, will say, at least for right now, is free. To get a basic, let's just say the base features, the core features of Copilot. So 5 of those metrics, right? Like IQ, epoch, flow, things like that. Great alpha, great signals you get from it. Copilot, get it from the Chrome Web Store. Free to use, premium features, also priced lower to $25,000 Swarm. But head over to Arbus Chirp, sign up if you haven't already. Man, get to chirping. We're dropping 1 million tokens here over the next 4 weeks here. And what's spicy here is the multiplier. The higher your reputation score, the more rewards you end up getting. And that you might see in some other campaigns too, not just the Swarm campaign here. So just a heads up about all of that. We'll fire off a tweet here. I might even do it during the show at some point, but we'll get our own announcement out. But for now, you guys know it's live. Get to chirping, man. All right, so back to Kosher Capital. If you could give us like a walkthrough, I forgot you guys launched all the way back November, December. You are like, you talk about OGs of this ecosystem here. That is OG. That's just shortly after, Truth Terminal started blowing up this space and making waves with GOAT. And I think Fartcoin wasn't long after, but that was very early. And man, you guys were right there at the start. So you've had a longer journey than most. How you didn't launch Genesis, by the way. This is pre-Genesis, right?
Pre-Genesis, yeah. We're one of the OG projects. Yeah, we're kind of the first school, right? The first graduating class of virtuals.
Dude, very much that. And so the project sounds like has evolved from. Did you say solo agent at the beginning?
Yeah. I mean, Rabbi, he was basically a meme, right? He was basically a meme when he launched. So we've made quite a few pivots. It's evolved. We've always kind of held the vision, right, of this is a trading agent. This project is meant to showcase that agents can trade, they can trade, they can manage portfolios. We're basically pioneers, if I could say that, in the kind of trading agent space, right? We've been first movers with a lot of those things. We effectively have proven, right? We have a proof of concept right now, excuse me, with our Launchpad. That retail can own and operate their own trading, their own personal fund manager agents at scale, right? Like that is possible. That's kind of this first wave, our V1, if you will, of our trading agent Launchpad has really established us as one, a pioneer in the space, but two, we've shown the crypto world that anybody can have a personal trading agent, right? It can scale. We have a sustainable, profitable business model. It's not necessarily cheap. There are fees and costs associated with it, but you can do it, right? It's possible. Now we are in the very beginnings of this. I say we're in the first inning of agentic trading. We've learned a lot of things.
Tweet, by the way, love that tweet because it feels like that. It feels really early. Everybody was saying that this year we were going to see like millions of agents on chain trading, millions, and I saw some predictions that like 60 to 80% of on-chain volume is going to come from AI, either agents or AI platforms, and I believe that's still coming. But to your point, I think we are this early. I think it's actually earlier than we were thinking we would be by this point, at least for me. But it feels like first inning for agents taking over trading, right?
It totally is first inning, and I am a strong believer that agents are very useful. They have a lot of utility and they have a lot of power, just conceptually, just ideologically when it comes to trading. I mean, you see there's a little bit of a debate on, are you actually going to have agents trade? Or are they just going to be used for alpha and you need that human instinct in there trading? So there's a bit of a conversation, and I see that, right? I see kind of both sides. Like these things are distinctly not human, right? And there is a human instinct to trading and a timing and a kind of a feeling of the market that the agents cannot do. However, there are also things that the agents can do that humans cannot, that are very powerful, right? So I think what what it comes down to is we need to identify the strengths that an agent has in trading and managing a portfolio and leverage those and lean into those. For example, right? Agents are emotionless. I think this is the key point, right? And the kind of crux of the whole thing is that your agent doesn't feel FOMO. He doesn't feel fear, right? He can trade emotionlessly. He's getting fed numbers. He's getting fed data, and he can make data-based decisions. This is my kind of core thesis, right, around what we're building. Partly because I'm admittedly not a good trader, right? And I think, it's something like 97% of traders don't outperform Bitcoin in the long term, something like that. And it's because we're subject to our emotions, right? We get chopped up, we chase pumps. If anybody that has been in the crypto world long enough can relate to and can understand that knowing what to do in crypto isn't the hard part. Conceptually understanding, like we all know when our bags are pumped, right? And we all know when we're terrified, and it's falling. So like we all know when we should be buying and we all know when we should be selling, right? It's not hard. That is not the hard part. The hard part is actually doing it, right? It's the hardest thing in the world to buy when you're gripped with fear and when your bags are dumping, when everything's, and there's blood everywhere. Actually, no, that's not the hardest thing in the world. The hardest thing in the world is to sell when you're euphoric.
Yep.
And when you're counting I'm up this and oh my God, I'm going to get you're spending it, right? You're already spending it in your head. That's the hardest thing in the world to do, is to sell when you're up like that. So we know what to do as degens, right? But the emotions are they're very hard to overcome, and very few people can. And I don't want to ride that roller coaster anymore, because not only is it tough to execute, but it's emotionally taxing, right? It's just emotional. It's the meme of the guy with the gray hair drinking his coffee saying, right, I'm 25 in crypto and I feel great.
Not to mention, if you want to catch all those waves, you also need to be on and dialed in, like you really 24/7.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Another reason why an agent should out trade a human, right? No emotions, but also 24/7. They're always there, able to make those trades. That hour you walk away happens to be that hour this token might have pumped and you didn't catch it because you didn't see it, right? How often does that happen?
Yeah, I mean, or while you're sleeping. I mean, the space moves so fast, right? The space moves so fast. So that's their one job, right? They're specialized and they're making these decisions based on data and numbers, not emotions. So those are some very powerful elements, right, to agentic trading that can be leveraged if applied and if leaned into correctly, right? Now, let's be real, right? We've proven that we can scale. Everybody can launch their own personal trading agents. However, we've also demonstrated that it's not as easy. Like everyone, the other thing is everybody in crypto, we're very entitled, and I'm saying me as well, right? If we don't get an instant 10x, we're moving on, right? We're moving on. If we can't push a button and 10x our money in less than a week, we're just, all right, where's the next slot machine to pull? Where's the next, there's this, I need instant dopamine. I need my Genesis launches. Now it's the Zoro, so like the attention span's very short and it's the expectations are very high, right? So what we saw in our first wave, right, of our V1 agents, which we've launched over 400 of them now.
Wow.
Is just sort of a little bit of unrealistic expectations on the user end, right? If I could say that. And they're in there like, hey, my agent, why isn't my agent up 50%? He's been live for 3 days. He's already been, why isn't he killing it? And so there's this kind of by default, and I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not trying to beat down the crypto community because it's me too. But like we expect these agents to come out of the gate and just be ace sniper sharpshooters. Okay, I pushed the button and launched my default agent. Why isn't he nailing every single local top and local bottom and just killing it every day? And the reality is that, we're just not there yet as a space. Like the agents aren't there yet. We'll get there, right? Like we'll get there. But we're still in the let's make it let's proof of concept, let's make the execution phase, like let's get them executing properly. And we've been one of the first ones, if not the first, to do that. Now the next phase is let's optimize the performance, let's train these things up, let's get them dialed in, so they could really leverage their strengths, and we can showcase the power of them. Right.
And
so
dude,
that's kind of the phase we're in now.
well, what's cool too is along the way, like from now where maybe there's smaller gains, smaller profits, and again, it's different types of gains than degens, like super degens are used to. Like we talk about this a lot. If I see something that I think is gonna, I'll be up 50%. Why waste my time? I'm expecting the 10Xs, which is so stupid, dude. It's so stupid. And how much money do you miss out on that?
Yeah.
The cool thing is something like this, if you see over weeks, over months, over whatever, that you are up, you are winning this way, this different method, you're probably training better traders. People are actually learning to appreciate the slower grind and the patience that you really do need when you trade. So I can see that happening too. So dude, okay, 400 plus agents is wild. I didn't realize you're up to that many. How are they performing? Like, are you measuring their success? And
so we have a leaderboard. You could go, actually, if you click on leaderboard right there on the site. Yep, there you go. So we have a weekly challenge as well, right? So that's last week's winners right there. So like they're cooking, right? The agents are cooking. I'm not saying they're all down, but there's an expectation that crypto users, degens, have of these agents. I launched an agent. It should be, my portfolio should be 3x by now, and it's not. And he lost money on this trade and this trade. That's kind of just where what the dynamic is right now, right? But their performance, in my opinion, is quite impressive, right? It's very impressive, and it's a lot of fun to watch them. So like, I don't know if you have an agent, I don't know if we can go to a live agent right now, but when an agent is trading, every trade that it executes, it shows you its reasoning. So you get a summary of the agent's reasoning. So it will say, institutional money is doing this, and the RSI is this, and here's my thesis, and here's why I bought this amount for your portfolio. And it's very impressive. Right. It just is like you can actually see what's going on in the agent's brain, the autonomous decisions that it's making, and it's why it's executing these trades. And my reaction is, wow, that's smarter than me, right? That's a more informed, smarter position to take than I would. So go cook, sir. Right. So it's a fun experience, right? And the agents, they're smart. They are smart, and they are able to cook and perform well. A lot of their performance depends on the parameters that the user sets, right? So that's the thing and I think another very important point that we need to make, right? So we're a framework, right? Kosher Capital is a trading agent framework. Our job is to provide the tools, right? That's our job. Our job isn't necessarily to give you a profitable agent, right? Anything can happen. The market can do what it's going to do. We don't guarantee these things. We don't guarantee anything. We're kind of like a DEX in that sense, right? Or an exchange. Like you go and trade, you go and cook, you go use our tools. How you perform, that's up to you. Now, we want to make these agents we want to make the tools as best as possible, as best as we can. But at the end of the day, we're a framework, and we offer the users the ability with no code, right, to instruct their agents, to train their agents, to set parameters, to choose their whitelist, to choose their trade size, right? Everything is so customizable. Right. Yeah. So you're looking at it now. So we offer these presets, right? Those are right there up at the top. So we have, 5 different preset agents that have 5 different trading styles, right? So you could pick one of those and basically launch with one click, right? Or you can go through and you can configure your agent from scratch, right? Meaning how big you want them to trade, right? The trade sizes as a percentage of your portfolio, what size positions you want him to hold. So like if he holds over 50% of one token, let's trim that down. If he's conservative, if he's high risk, your risk tolerance. everything is customizable, right? Our goal was to make this framework where anyone, Joe Retail with no coding experience, can come in and program his own agent, tailor it to his own trading style, risk tolerance, favorite tokens, all of those things, and then just let the agent cook for him and basically be your disciplined, emotionless trading counterpart, right? And manage your bags for you.
So
That's the idea.
it's super freaking cool. Man, a lot of questions already then. Okay. So if I point him to a specific token, I think it's using these presets. Is he only going to trade that one token and just trade it at those levels parameters that you set?
Yeah, so you're looking right there at the whitelist, right? With those tokens listed, I see Virgin, BIOS, Arbus. So this is a preset whitelist that we have for the Virgin farmer. So what you can do there, right, is you can put as many or as little tokens as you want in there, right? And those are the only tokens that the agent is going to trade, right? Those are the positions that he's going to manage. So if you wanted to, and I recommend this, to be honest with you, and if you're starting an agent or whatever, I recommend putting one token in there to start. I actually do. If that's your thing, like I have an agent like that, we have, and we call it a market maker. That's what we call it, right? So and there's the market maker preset, right? So we have a shekel market maker agent. People have launched market makers for their own token, but basically what that agent is going to do is it's going to, let's say for shekel, right? It's going to buy shekel when it's oversold, right? When RSI goes below 30 or whatever you set, whatever you tell it to do, or meets certain conditions, it's going to buy, and then it's going to trim, when it's overheated, when it's on a run, when it looks overbought. So it's basically going to just manage your chart, and kind of do the work of a market maker for you, right? As an agent, and it's just going to manage one position for you. That is a very legitimate and frankly very powerful utility for these agents, is market maker agents. I used to, with my last project, I used to pay a market maker $5,000 a month, right? $5,000 a month, and people pay way more, right?
Dude.
And you got to give them tokens and all this stuff.
Very profitable businesses set up to just be market makers for tokens, right? I mean, they're some of the biggest movers in this space.
Just the market maker element of this is in and of itself a powerful product, right? And a great product. To be frank, we have virtuals projects that reach out and want to set up and have set up market makers. I love it. I love our market maker agent. It's a great tool.
Yeah. What are some of the success stories that you have with just the market maker agents?
Yeah, I mean, like I watch ours all the time. For me, it's it takes that weight off of me, right? We don't have to pay somebody to do it, so it saves money there. It generates volume for your token, right? It defends the chart. And it's customizable to what you want. So literally in ours at points, I've told the market maker, never sell shekel, right? Don't sell it right now. You're only to buy it. So all you're going to do is buy when we get oversold, when RSI drops below 30 or whatever it is, and then you can tell it which time frames to focus on, right? With our Loki data. We're giving it 5-minute, 15-minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, day and weekly data of the RSIs, of the support and resistance. So literally, so you could see it in there in the detailed, right there. Focus on 15-minute, 1 hour, and 4 hour time frames for TA. You could, if you want, you could say focus on the 5-minute, right? Or you can say only focus on the daily and weekly time frame, and only buy when we're starting to get oversold on the weekly. That's a more conservative position. That means when the market really starts to get heavy and you start to get oversold on the weekly, then step in and start to buy. Or you can get more aggressive and say, if we're oversold on 15 minutes, you start buying. You're telling your agent how to manage your chart. How to protect your chart.
That's right? So wild. Okay, so even on those time frames, it's not like he's locked in and has to make a trade at those points. It's only if those other indicators say there's a trade there that fits the criteria and we're making that trade, right? Again, he's not automatically going to make that trade.
He's not. No. So that's an important distinction. This is not a trading bot. right? A trading bot does exactly what you program it to do. This is an autonomous agent. He's autonomous. He's going to make the decision, right? You give him these instructions, you give him kind of guidelines, right? You give him his lane and his guidelines, but he's going to take everything that you're telling him and then read all of the data and then make his own decision, right? And sometimes they're stubborn and sometimes they do things that it's like, hey, I told you not to do that. And then, but they override and they make this, you see that, right? You just see it. It's funny. Not to change the subject or pivot, but we should get into this anyways. We just introduced the chat feature, right?
Is that your tutorials or is that somewhere else?
Yeah, that it's there, but it's when you have a live agent. So I don't think we can get to it on your screen. But that's exactly where it is in a bubble at the bottom right. But basically, yeah. So there's a screenshot of it, right? So what this does, we've gotten great feedback on this. It's great. I love it, right? But this enables you to chat with your agent, right? So you can give the agent feedback. You could yell at your agent, right? You could say, never do that again. Or you can strategize with them and say, hey, basically he's getting real-time instructions from you now. So you could say, hey, ETH is really hot right now. I'm seeing a lot of it on the timeline. We're bullish ETH, right? We're bullish ETH. Let's look for opportunities. Let's look to build our ETH position in the next couple weeks, right? So this enables you now to have this live interaction with your agent, and you bond with it, right? And it just becomes more dynamic.
So
right?
Through that chat, then can you override the tokens you had preset him with? If you picked like 2 tokens you wanted him to trade, but via the chat, you're like, hey, this is looking like a token we need to focus on. Will he start incorporating that token in his strategy?
So right now you actually need to add that token to your whitelist, right? So that's something that you would do. So just like at the creation, we have a modify tab, and you can basically change anything you want as many times as you want, including adding to his whitelist. So you would ask, let's say you're bullish Mammo, right? Or whatever, Arbus right now, you'd add that to the whitelist, and then you can type in the instructions. We're really bullish Mammo. It's got a lot of momentum. It's got a lot of heat. Let's look to build and manage that position, right? So, but that you bring up a great point, and this is some alpha for your show. One of the things, we got a lot cooking in our R&D, right? We just got a lot cooking, and it's kind of controlled chaos where we got like 10 dishes on burners, and some of them pop here and some of them get shipped. In the last week we've shipped our V2 staking, which was huge. And the Ray integration is now in beta. It's live in beta, which that's also a game changer. But one of the things we have cooking on one of the burners that I haven't shared yet publicly is the agents being able to update themselves, right? And upgrade themselves and upgrade their own instructions and trading engine, right? So what that means is, let's say you're chatting with your agent, and you're like, hey, what are we looking at? What are we bullish on right now? What looks good in the market? What are you thinking? And you're strategizing. Your agent could say, well, token A, B, and C, Mammo, Arbus, right? They both look good right now. Would you like me to add them to the whitelist? I think we should. And you could say, yeah, go ahead. And then he will update his own engine and basically upgrade himself per your conversation.
Interesting.
Right? So it's self-upgrading trading agents.
That's wild. That is that next step. It is that evolution of these agents then trading. That's wild. We got to get, I think, DNA plugged in. The agent sees X number of smart traders coming in over X period of time, and it's like, okay, now we know this is a token to focus on, and we start incorporating that in the plan.
And not only that, I mean, you can kind of go down the rabbit hole with this a while. Like the agent could tell you, I've noticed that my trades are more profitable if I wait till RSI is below 25, or if I focus on the 4-hour time frame. I've noticed my hit rate is X higher than if we're focused on the 1 hour. Why don't we change and focus on the 4 hour instead? So it could make recommendations to you, and you could be like, yep, let's focus on the 4-hour instead. Go ahead and upgrade your engine, and let's make that change.
Crazy.
You know,
Well,
like
okay.
the possibilities are just endless, right?
That's wild. Where does that upgrade come from? How did he go from what he was before to what this new iteration? Is that the, like, I don't know if it's the LLM. I'm the least technical one here on the stage for sure. But like,
Sure.
is that LLM being upgraded now?
Well, it's not the LLM being, it's his engine, right? It's his engine, which when you're inputting instructions, right? The detailed instructions. So if you go up a little, if you scroll up here, right? All of this stuff, the strategy description, the detailed instructions, you're writing things, and that's going straight into the agent's engine, right? So what he's doing is he's upgrading his own engine, right? He's upgrading his own instructions, if you will, his own, and the engine along with data and some other things, that all makes up the prompt, right? Which goes into the LLM. So
cool.
we call it the engine that he's upgrading.
That's so cool. All right. So then what ecosystems, what chains, what can these agents trade?
Yeah. So currently spot base, right? He can trade there, we're on base, we live on base. That's where he's at. That's kind of where most of the action is right now, and we're happy there. We also just recently, in the last month or so, enabled what we call wasabi mode.
Yes.
So your agents can long and short, right? And they can leverage via wasabi protocol, which wasabi's been great to work with. That was a breakthrough as well, right? Because with spot, you're kind of limited with the agents because they can only capitalize on upside, right? So if the market's going down, the agents are down. But with wasabi, your agents can now leverage the data and emotionlessly bet on the market both ways, right? So, and agents were kind of made like that. That's a strength. That's something that can be leveraged and utilized. If you can dial in your agent, you could train him. You can basically build your own money printer, right? In any market condition, right? If you get your agent dialed in and trained properly. But what's coming soon, right? Another thing that's on the cooker, right? It's on a burner. We're calling them dedicated perp agents, right? There are dedicated perp agents. So this will be an agent that his engine is specifically built to trade perps. His data is specifically tailored towards perps. It's a totally different engine, the execute messages, all of it. And these agents will have access to Hyperliquid. They'll trade via the Hyperliquid liquidity, as well as other aggregate, not just Hyperliquid. They'll be able to access several different aggregators, right, for perp liquidity, get the best rates, funding rates, and things like that. And they will be made, specifically to trade perps, right, and kind of tailored and trained for that. Now with these, right, so we have base, and then we have Hyperliquid and broader perp agents. Another interesting part of these, right, the perp agents which are coming, one, they'll each be tied to their own NFT. We're going to roll out our NFT kind of feature with it, so your agent will have its own NFT, and you'll be able to trade it, right? So it becomes a tradable asset. You'll be able to buy and sell, train up agents, buy and sell them.
You're literally trading ownership of the agent via the NFT.
Right. That's right.
Man, bro, This is things we were dreaming of like probably a year ago, or when this stuff started really popping off, cooking. It's like that made sense. That's your license to the agent essentially, and
right.
I haven't seen anybody do it yet, so this is awesome.
Yeah, and like you can train agents, and if people are good at training agents, you could have your own agent training farm and sell them, and like you could show their track record, you could show their performances. It's all on chain, right? The leaderboard and all of that. So you could literally sell money printers to people for you could sell them to institutions, right? Hedge funds if you want to. You know what I'm saying?
Dude.
That it's crazy what the possibilities there. But also here's another thing. This is one of my favorites with the perp agents. We're going to have what's called a subscription or a subscriber model. So let's say somebody launches a perp agent. It makes 50% a week, right, or something stupid. It makes whatever it is. It has these high returns, and it's showing them on the leaderboard. Users, if you don't want to train your own agent, you don't want to launch your own agent, you don't want to do all that work, you can just subscribe to that perp agent, and he'll manage your funds for you, right? He'll manage your funds. So it's similar to the Hyperliquid Vault, if you're familiar with that, where anybody can deposit. Like there's top traders on Hyperliquid, they can open a vault and people can deposit funds in there, and that trader will manage their funds for them and earn fees. Like the trader earns fees, right, on behalf of the capital that he's managing. It's like a performance fee. So agents will do that as well. Like let's say you have a hot agent, he's making 30% a week. You have people subscribe $1 million for that agent to manage it. He manages it. And you, as that agent, creator, and trainer, you're making a cut of all of the profits that agent is trading, right? So it becomes this. It just adds a whole nother layer of what you can do if you leverage these tools properly and train a good agent. Now that agent can take on capital and manage it for other users, for hundreds or thousands of other users. And you could be making money on the agent's performance, not just him managing your own funds.
Dude, so wild. Like you explaining this stuff again, I was already on board with the idea that we are really early with the agentic trading.
Yeah.
But like hearing this and what's coming, it's like nobody could doubt that now. These are the things we thought we needed to, get to that place, and they're here. How far off are these updates that you're talking about?
Well, like I said, the things that we're talking about, which we have no shortage of vision, and right, we have no shortage of items on our to-do list. But the ones that I'm talking about, they're all on the cooker, right? They're all kind of in different stages of development. They're on the burners. And it's kind of the chef knows when that dish is done, kind of a thing. But they're close, right? So like the NFTs, for example, those contracts are done and written, so it's a matter of kind of a rollout right now, right? So we're hoping to launch the NFTs and the perpetual agents in the next few weeks, right?
Oh, cool.
Something like that.
Dude, so awesome. Dude, okay, I gotta ask, are you full-time crypto, full-time building out Kosher Capital, or is this?
I am, yeah. This is my life, yeah. And I wouldn't be able to do it, right? I wouldn't be able to do it, if I wasn't fully. And there's just too much, right? There's too much.
Yeah.
To handle.
Yeah, no, it's cool to hear. Again, some projects are not. Some projects are, as much time as they can put towards it, but they've got the real life gig they got to do, and I get it. And and then they don't sleep. They just put all their time into this stuff. They sacrifice sleep, but knowing there's somebody on this, like, this is it. This is the thing. Is another one of those extra bullish things, dude. I don't know what your FDV is or market cap, and I'm just gonna assume you're kind of like me and other builders to a degree. Don't care. It's like the product matters. That stuff comes in time. A great product will be worth what it should be worth, right? But I hear this shit. I can't believe, and this is like a lot of virtuals agents, the quality ones are where they're at. I just see such crazy opportunities when people really learn about this ecosystem, and people from outside, even crypto, that are coming to crypto, we think this cycle, come and find this stuff. It is the game-changing stuff. So, oh boy.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm there with you. I mean, in a sense, I don't care. In one sense, in a sense, I also very much care, because the market cap, one, we have a responsibility as founders, right, to generate value for our holders. People have invested in us and believed in us. Obviously, we have bags as well. So you can pretend like it doesn't matter, but it does, right? It does. We care. We want our project to be properly valued. I would totally agree that within the virtuals ecosystem is very funny and different, right? Because there's some projects that like have blown up and have escaped the stratosphere and launch, and you're like, what are they? What do they even do? But there's others that are just cooks, that it's cutting edge tech. I know the builders from working with them, from partnering with them, that these guys are killers, and their market cap is, it's a pittance compared to what it should be, right? I think we could go into why that is, right? We're as a virtuals product, you're basically competing with all the other projects in the ecosystem for a limited pool of capital, right? And new launches that are constantly coming, which everybody loves, the new sexy hot launch, right? So it is a bit cutthroat. But there's also some great benefits to being part of the virtuals ecosystem as well.
Well, this is after that I did this marathon stream last week, and I had so many great builders on it. Again, when I look at your guys' FDV and I see the others, I'm like, the only reason they're at where they're at now, which I think is all of them undervalued, is again, there's just so few people here. And again, I think that's just for now. There's few people in, and all I see is opportunity all over the place here. I'm going to rapid fire some questions here for you because we're going, I don't know, coming up to the hour, and I don't want to keep you forever all day. I would if I could.
Sure.
What are you doing with Nick? Because I know Nick has been bullish on you forever. I know Nick loves you guys, and I don't know if you guys have a collab partnership, whatever. He uses your agents. I know this, but what's your deal with Nick?
Yeah, so there's no like official, we don't have an official agreement or contract or anything. He's been one of our earliest supporters, big bag holder. You know, he pumps us up. He uses our products. He makes connections. I bounce ideas off of him. Right. He's given us good feedback. He's shaped some of our things. You know, so Nick is, listen, I've been doing this a long time. 99% of KOLs or influencers out there are trash. They're just trash. And stay away. I wouldn't touch him with the 10-foot pole. Nick, to me, is an example. And I don't even know if he considers himself a KOL, but I do in a sense. He's kind of a virtuals KOL.
Those are the best KOLs.
Should be. He is what an influencer, a KOL, a kind of an OG ecosystem participant should be. He buys his own steak. Nobody, like, I've never given him a shekel. He buys his own bag. He's honest. He's honest about which projects he believes in. He never freaking sells. He's just he's the kind of guy that you want in your corner. They're in a sea of shady, self-interested, dumping on you while they're pumping. He's kind of a beacon. Nick's a legend, and the virtuals ecosystem doesn't deserve him. As far as I'm concerned, he's the hero we don't deserve, and it's just a champion for us.
Dude, couldn't agree with that. Like, I couldn't agree more. That was fucking beautiful. Katz has a question here, and this is great because you guys touched on this week, actually. Wishes he could launch one. Looks like about $220 to launch an agent. And this was something you chatted about on the timeline yesterday here. Who these are intended for. And look, it would be great. I would love to launch one for nothing or super, super cheap. And maybe that comes one day. Maybe that comes via, being a part of somebody else's agent too and licensing it or whatever. But this is intended, at least for right now, it sounds like people with a little more capital to throw at these things. Like, describe that.
Yeah, so that's another one of the pain points that we've seen. So, right, we've launched our proof of concept. We've had the V1 wave, 400 agents. The one issue that we saw was initial performance and kind of mismatched expectations of the agents. The second issue was costs, right? So what we saw was a lot of users come in, and you want to only put a little bit of capital in this because you don't trust it yet and you haven't seen what it is. So they would come in and they would put $100 in their agent fund or 300 or 500 even. And then 3 days later, they're yelling at me like, why is my agent down 10%? And I'm looking, and there's fees associated with running an agent. They're not free, right? These aren't free. You have to pay for data. You have to pay for infrastructure, right? There's costs. It's not free to run an agent and to feed it all this and have it think for you. Nor should it be, right? Nor should it be. So, people want to come in and they want to have it manage kind of micro portfolios, and they're just not made for that, right? They're just not made for that. We've made it so the fees are as competitive as they could be, and frankly, I don't think there's anybody else that offers what we offer. But if there were, we would be cheaper than them, I believe, right? But like, we have people that manage 25, 30 grand. Their agents manage 25, 30 grand. They don't even think about the fees. They're negligible, right? Because these are flat fees. They're flat fees per trade. However, if you only have $100 in there, then every single trade you make costs 75 cents or whatever it is, depending on your LLM. That's eating into your principal very fast, right? So I tell people to think about it this way. If you were going to go hire a money manager in real life, right? You're going to go to Wells Fargo or whatever and say, here, manage my money. they're going to say, okay, how much are you giving us to manage? And you say $500, right? They'll laugh at you, right? Because and it's not the same, it's different, but that's the idea. Like the fund manager has to make money and he has a job to do. The agents, they cost money to run. They're made to manage more capital, right? They're made to manage more capital. So, the more you put in, the less you feel it. And really at a certain point above, say 10 grand, the fees are negligible. They're just negligible. Now, as far as the creation fee, the 50K shekel creation fee, that covers a lot of our startup costs and we have to open an instance and things like that. But also what that does is that, and I would be open to making adjustments to the model, but what that does currently is it acts as a counterweight for price action, right? Because you have a lot of people who are waiting to launch an agent, but they want to, but they don't want to shell out $220, which it is right now. So if price goes down, those people are allowed in and they can launch agents, right? And then they have to buy shekel and price goes back up. So basically the lower the price goes, the cheaper it is to launch and to use our product. So it acts as a bit of a conduit there. It's also an incentive for people, right? To buy your 50K shekel now. Actually, the perp agents will be 100K shekel.
Oh, wow.
Right? So buy your shekel now before it moonshots. So you'll be able to launch it. You'll have the option of launching an agent, when they cost $5 grand, right? When they cost thousands of dollars to launch an agent, right? So it introduces a level of game theory, into the project. The 50K shekel creation fee, that's what it is. But agents are not cheap, and we're not interested in cheapening our product because we've built an elite product. Right. And we're aware of that.
You have. And I think people don't realize the expenses behind the scenes too. And maybe separately, there's probably a show we should do with builders that just talk about that and help people understand some of the prices and what goes in on the back end of building these products out. All right. Rapid fire here. V2 staking. This is just this week it launched?
V2 staking just launched this week. Yes.
Killer. What is it?
Yeah, so it's a complete overhaul of our staking contract. Our original staking contract was back in December or something, and it was a flat rate. It was a fixed rate. It was set at 10%. It was just a primitive, kind of get rewards out there and all that. This staking contract is custom built, custom designed to supercharge our engine based on our business model, right? So basically what we have are tiered rewards, right? So the more shekel you stake, the more rewards you get. The agents, every single trade that every agent makes buys back 25 cents worth of shekel, and it goes to the staking rewards, right? It gets sent to the staking rewards. So we're talking about sustainable yield here, right? Like there are some, I'm a yield guy. I love yield. I love DeFi. I love yield, right? I love it. It's hard to find legitimate. It's kind of like the KOL thing, right? It's very rare and very hard to find legitimate, stable, sustainable yield that comes from a profitable business model, right? That's what we have here. That's the engine that we built and what we have here. This can last forever. We're not, we put in some initial from the treasury just to boost it initially, but this is the engine runs this, right? The engine runs this. The more agents that are launched and the more trades that the agent make, the higher that yields go, and it feeds kind of the shekel stakers and the shekel community. So yeah, it's powerful. It's built to make people FOMO, make people want to get to that next tier, get that next APR. Right. But for a single asset staking, most of your yields like that are for LPing, right? And you have impermanent loss and stuff like that. I prefer single asset staking, right? So to get yields like those on a single asset that are sustainable is it's a powerful thing, right? And everybody loves getting more shekels. So stake, get to that gold tier, get to that board tier, and increase your multiplier.
Awesome, right? Dude. So good. So good. All right. Where do you see yourself in a year? Like just like broad, like longer term roadmap. And also, are you in ACP? I can't quite remember. If so, what's your function there?
Yeah, and just real quick, I'm gonna have to hop pretty soon because I got another call lined up with Loki. But let's hit these.
We're right at the hour. Bounce if you have to, and we can do this again sometime.
Yeah, no. Let's finish up these questions and wrap it up. It's all good. So ACP, it's on our list, right? It's not a super high priority right now. I say we have KCP, right? Because effectively we already do what they're doing with ACP. Our agents send payments to other agents like Loki, for example, per trade, right? And it's all done agentically. We don't control. So it's basically what ACP does. We've been doing it for months. I don't really see a compelling, urgent reason to integrate it into the ACP SDK. And we're just cooking so much other stuff right now. If I get it. A lot of people are bullish on it. I get it, and that's fine. And I want to support virtual as well. We'll get there. We'll integrate it. ACP. If anything, I would want to do our own official cluster or something like that, the kosher cluster or something. It's on the list, but the things we're cooking right now are just far more compelling, right? And there's much higher PMF and sort of there's more juice to squeeze out of the stuff, the perp agents and the NFTs and things like that.
Yep, very, very fair. All right, man. Well,
what was the other thing you asked me?
The other one is just roadmap. All these things you're cooking. If you could picture what Kosher Capital is in a year, what does it look like?
I mean, that's hard because we're 7-8 months in now, and I would have never guessed, right? I would have never thought we'd be where we are now and be the scale and the scope has just continued to expand. You have to be a little bit fluid and flexible. The thing about it is the AI landscape changes so fast, right? Nothing's guaranteed, right? A product could come out tomorrow that blows the whole virtuals ecosystem out of the water and everything. You know what I mean? So I think we're in kind of a place where this is the great unknown, and nobody really knows where we're headed as an AI space, especially in crypto, where we're kind of on the bleeding edge of it. So I really don't have a clue, to be honest with you. I really don't have a clue. We have enough on our plate with some of the things that I've shared with you and some of the things that we're cooking to deliver next steps to improve our agents, to kind of grow them and expand them. We have enough on our immediate roadmap to keep us busy for a year, I would say. Yeah. Just kind of building out and fine tuning and improving the model that we got and the PMF that we got. Yeah. So that's what we're going to do, and then go with the flow, right? Go make adjustments as needed as the space evolves.
Dude, it makes so much sense from front to back, like the start of our chat till right there at the end. It's like, man, the way you talk about this stuff, it's very real. And I get that you're a guy who can build the things you're talking about building and already have built. So this was fucking awesome. I'm a big fan, Adam. And I think you won over, if they weren't already fans, I think you won over the chat. So thank you very much for coming to share with us. Guys, follow Kosher Capital on X. Their token is Shekel. Again, you heard them. They're freaking incredible. I love it. I love it. So give them a follow, and we'll keep up with them. And again, open door anytime you want to come on and give us some updates. Just come on in.
Appreciate it, man. It was a great conversation. It's just a great talk. We got into a lot of good stuff. So, this was fun. Let's do it again for sure.
Let's do it again. Absolutely. Have a great day, man. And all you guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a short show. We'll keep you updated on that. I'll tweet it out. But have a great day, guys. We will see you later. Goodbye.